Welcome to this edition of the Wrestling Retrospective podcast. It has been a very, very long time to record one of these. Recording this actually, well, just remember they recording it because it's evergreen as hell anyway. But we're joined here, of course, by my favorite two guys to do retro wrestling talk with. Once I get this on the screen, there they go. There. Wait, nope, that's the wrong button. It's been a long time since I've done this show, so I apologize, guys. There you go, right there. We got 2/3 of the mindless wrestling podcast here. Of course, Rob Bonnet, or AKA Rob the Genius. We got DJ Minter, of course, the host of the mindless podcast. Fellas, how you guys doing, man? Been a long time.
Good to be back, man. Well, good to be back again.
Okay. Well, real quick, you probably knows in the feed. Rob and I recorded a podcast this morning. Actually, reacted to the Elimination Chamber from last night, which obviously we're doing watch along tonight, so we have to do when you do a watch along, especially too with other past events, it gives us space to talk about this kind of stuff. But I'm sure we'll get DJ's thoughts on John Cena's massive heel turn last night. But DJ, how you doing, brother?
Oh, buddy, I'm good. It's been a bit of a busy weekend. I didn't get as much downtime as I wanted, but you know what? The weather's gorgeous right now.
It is great. We're both in Florida, so it has been gorgeous today. Yeah, it really is.
No, yeah. I'm jealous again because we had a good week and now we're back down to 38.
I like cold weather. Here's the thing, though. I like cold weather, though, Rob. So
I do too.
So I mean, I do miss it, but we haven't had a cold front in a little while, probably in the last almost a month now, I think.
And that's odd for us because usually February can be cold here for Florida.
Yes, it does. You get like your last one probably at latest early March, but it came and went pretty much this year for us. But anyway, today is the not today, but this year is the 35-year anniversary of the Royal Rumble, Royal Rumble 1990 rather. We've been trying to get this podcast done for about a month and a half or so, but we had a couple of things that schedule wise. DJ had some issues to take care of and whatnot. We're finally locking in now. Finally, I want to do it with you guys, but that's why I waited as long as I could to do this with you guys. I want to do it with you. So Royal Rumble 1990, of course, took place at Orlando, Florida, at the old Orlando Arena on January 21st, 1990. The attendance was 16,000 people. The tagline, every man for himself. Fellas, I always ask you guys this all the time. We do on these watch-alongs on dates and stuff. 1990 January. What the hell are you guys doing?
Go ahead, Rob.
I was in high school.
So I was okay. Because I was 9 turning 10. Definitely peak time of my wrestling fandom. So now I didn't watch this live because I couldn't afford pay-per-views back then. So whatever I got after the fact, or whatever I found out after the fact, I rented this video weeks after at the local video store. So I didn't watch it in real time, but I watched it like weeks later. Just cause. But DJ, what were you doing in 1990, buddy?
1990, I was in high school. I was watching this on my couch, absolutely livid that this event was happening less than an hour away from me, and we didn't go. You could drive to the arena from my house in about 50 minutes.
Oh,
it
wow.
was right there in my backyard, and we didn't go. And my parents were like, no, we're not doing that. And I'm like, God damn it. So I watched them on pay-per-view.
Well, it's funny to me. I couldn't, I was barely allowed to watch wrestling as was. Like, I still watch it. My mom would restrict me from watching it, though, because,
right.
You start doing the shit in school, it's a problem. You know what I
mean? Well, yeah, I get it.
So we're going to watch along the entire Royal Rumble match, not the event, guys. Just because we said 1990s, I mean, we're watching the actual event, watching the match. So the timestamp for this right now for this match is 1 hour, 26 minutes, and 55 seconds. We'll do commentary throughout the match for the next hour and some odd minutes. If you need to pause this podcast before we get started to set yourself up, feel free to do so. Otherwise, if you guys are ready to go, we can have fun with this and just have a good time and drink and whatever the hell on a Sunday afternoon. So, all right, let's do it. Ready to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And there you go. What he was called, I guess, the Canadian earthquake at this point still.
Yeah.
John Tenta.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, by the way. Heard's a really nice guy too, also in real life. A lot of these heels are really nice guys in real life, though.
Rest in peace, both of these guys. Dino Bravo went before he did.
Yeah, he got murdered.
Yeah, he was a mob hit.
Yeah, he got murdered 4 years.
Allegedly.
Which is crazy, man.
Yeah, that whole story is wild. Like over what, cigarettes?
Something. It's like Beverly Hills Cop.
Smuggling cigarettes.
All right, here's a WWE Legends contract holders demolition. That's some wild news in 2025.
Rob's favorite tag team of all time.
Oh yeah.
I will never get your beef with Demolition. It bothers me, Rob.
Okay,
He thinks their team will lead you to doom.
I don't have an issue with them. It's just they're great value hog and animal, and I'm a road warrior, Mark, and
I get it.
I saw it for what it is. I mean,
Rob, though, I feel like they carved their own niche, though. Like people
they
were a good.
They became a good tag. They were a legit good tag team. They were not bums, okay, but they were.
And it became transparent as hell when Vince got the real deal, and Demolition suddenly became jobbers.
Yeah, and he jobbed them out
immediately too.
As soon as he got Legion to do under contract, man, Demolition who?
Yeah,
it's sick too because Demolition was at this point the way they're booked, arguably the most dominant tag team in the history of the company at that point.
Well, undoubtedly.
Oh, there's a Heartbreak Kid on the left.
Yeah, the Cocaine Express.
That guy.
Who thought that guy to the left?
The snow ski rockers.
Yeah. So.
Oh my God.
No, go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Rob, are you gonna say something?
No, I called him the Cocaine Express.
Oof.
That's crazy. It's Mighty Hercules.
Here's another one that's no longer with us.
Yeah, he died, I think, about 10 years after this, I believe, or 8 years after this. 98, 99, I think it was. I always liked Hercules, though. He was definitely a mid-carder, but I always liked him.
I did, too. I thought he was good enough in the ring, and he had a good look about him.
Yeah. Not a great promo guy, but, it's all right.
For 1990, he was fine for the mid-card.
I agree, 100%. You got to context has to matter there. Now, this guy here, Rick Martel, he should be in the fucking Hall of Fame. This guy is actually one of the most underrated heels in company history.
We will have that conversation until the day it actually happens, sir. We have it on my show. We've had it on your show. I've had it on multiple shows. Rick Martel absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
What I heard, though, DJ, is that he doesn't care to be in there.
That's what I've heard. He's indifferent about it. However, someone, I think it was either late last year or early this year, somebody mentioned it because he's on Twitter. At least I think it's him. There was an account that looked like it was probably his, and somebody said something about the Hall of Fame, and he agreed with them.
Yeah.
So maybe his mind has changed on it. Maybe it was a Vince thing, and now that Vince isn't there anymore, maybe his feeling on that has changed.
Maybe. Arriba!
Tito Santana.
Yeah. And there's the alleged murderer, Jimmy Snuka.
Boy.
I think it's more than alleged at this point.
Man.
Oh, yeah, man. I think it's pretty much common knowledge.
Yeah. And that's my favorite character of all time, and my favorite manager of all time, right there. Akeem. In fact, this shit worked the way it did.
It was just because, we should have all been pissed off about it, but we just laughed because
I can't.
It was so
ridiculous.
It was so ridiculous that you couldn't help but laugh. I mean,
yeah. There's no way you look at that and take it seriously.
And that's the thing is exactly, because it was just it was so far out there, and you couldn't help but laugh.
Did you guys at this point realize that Warrior is probably the next guy? In real life?
Yeah, it was pretty obvious at this point.
It was, because it was like the year before once he won the Intercontinental title back with Rick Rude, that's when the real push started. And because they had him, his match main event the Survivor Series in '89.
Yeah,
they had him go on this. So it was. Now I didn't know that. I didn't know yet that they, for sure that they were going to do him versus Hogan.
Yeah,
but it was clear that he was next man up.
Yeah, I told you guys, watching in real time, especially for me, it always felt like The reason why I have Warrior as the #1 IC champion of all time is because he was the first guy with that belt that made it seem equal to the world title because of who he was. Not just because of the belt, what the belt was, but who he was.
Right.
He was that important.
Yeah, and I agree with that sentiment. The presence of the Ultimate Warrior makes it seem more important. I was always a big fan of the work rate era Intercontinental Championship matches, like Tito Santana, Macho Man Randy Savage, Bret Hart, Mr. Perfect. Those guys are my Intercontinental. I love the Warrior era. Don't get me wrong. I loved what they did with him, but obviously for him, it was meant to springboard him to the next level. It wasn't meant for him to be like the king of the Intercontinental Championship.
Speaking of the Macho King, there he is.
Mm-hmm.
This is the start of. He's about a couple months into his Macho King era now.
Yeah.
By far the greatest king of all time. By far.
Yeah.
I mean, who's close? I mean, King Booker was great, obviously. I didn't mind Baron Corbin's run as king. I mean, Jerry Lawler, obviously, but Macho King, he took that and ran the fuck with it.
Oh yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah.
And for a guy who hated cutting promos to end up being one of the best ever doing. Yeah, he hated it.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He wasn't comfortable with it.
Well, that's like Jake wasn't comfortable carrying the snake around when he was Oh, have you ever heard Jake tell a story about Savage and the snake when they're backstage?
I feel like I did, but run that by me again. I feel like I saw him snipping that on TikTok.
There's a video of it. I can find it for you. But
okay.
It's like Jake is telling the story, and he does like a dead-on impersonation of Savage. Because basically Savage made him have the snake bite him backstage first to show that the fang it had been properly defanged.
Yeah, okay, I got you. I have heard that. Yeah, I found it on TikTok. You click on one or two wrestling videos, and all of a sudden, next time you go on TikTok, there's every wrestler who's ever been interviewed. It falls into the algorithm. There's Jake.
Yeah. Because I've been lucky.
Rob's boy, of course.
I've been lucky with those algorithms because one of my boys, he's into like archery and he likes watching fights, and so he's done searches for archery and for fights like boxing matches and stuff, and he got sent straight to Red Pill Land in his recommendation.
Oh boy.
Oh god, there's a lot of those out there.
Yeah. There's another cocaine all-star, Jimmy Anvil.
Yeah.
Cocaine all-star. I like it. They were a great team, though. They really were a great team.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
they're on my Mount Rushmore of WWE or of tag teams, period.
Oh, question. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you look at it. So if you're doing the Mount Rushmore right now, obviously, New Day. Usos, at this point, the Usos, it has to be there.
Yeah.
At this point, after what they've done the last couple of years, to solidify that. And they
Hart Foundation and LOD.
And LOD. Well, you think LOD? See, I would say Road Warriors, yes.
Well, Road Warriors, not up. See, to me, the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom, it's all.
But do you think LOD and their WWF work was enough to put them up there?
No.
So I agree with you. If you're going on Mount Rushmore, all-time tag teams in pro wrestling, period, and discussion, they're up there. Even probably higher than the Hart Foundation. But WWF, though,
their WWF run was not.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to Ric Flair. I mean, well, I think Ric Flair did have a legit, very good WWE career, but
he had a good career. He didn't have a great one. He was certainly not top 10 guy.
Hog and Animal they were check cashing when they came to the WWF.
Yeah,
it was.
Vince looked at them and said, "They look like people from a movie. I can sell these toys because Hawk and Animal toys look badass, and kids are going to buy it."
Yeah, and they were check cashing when they came. By the time they came over,
pretty much.
You just realized I watched a promo of Hogan in Mania 4, and a Hogan promo right here, 2 years apart. He looks so coked out here.
Probably was.
Mania 4, he was cleaner and, with it. This one looks like chaotic. His eyes look like all bulged out and shit. That should have been the clue that these guys were really doing a lot of stuff.
That was a wild time back then.
Yeah. I used to think him being like, so bulky was like normal, but like made him special. Like him being like this bulky and with the oil and he's wearing on there too. Also, I would believe every word he said. I believe like, he said, "I'll take the whole whole world and get on the arms of the Hulkamania." And like, yeah, I trust him. 10-year-old me didn't fucking get it.
Yeah. Now, well, we weren't supposed to. They hid it from everybody.
They did a good job with that. Sick part 2 also is that the Rumble during next year is in Miami Arena.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Oh.
Yep. Kitty. What's the name of the cat, man?
Her name's Kitty, actually.
Oh my! I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that. That's fucking great.
That's the name the kids gave her.
That's fucking great.
And
I got 2 cats too, so I love my cats.
It was funny because like she walked into their mother's house and like their mom has 2 dogs, so that wasn't gonna work. And
yeah.
And I'd been thinking about getting a cat because I had a dog over here previously, but she passed away a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really want to get another dog. So I was thinking about getting a cat. So then Kitty happened to show up at their mom's house and she couldn't stay there.
I got to tell you, and I'm sure DJ agreed with me on this one because I own dogs too also, and I love dogs, but I have no interest now of owning another dog again. I don't have cats are so easy. They don't require a lot of attention and work. Just clean the litter box. You know.
Let me give you some advice. Yeah. Stick with 2. Do not get more than 2.
I have 2.
We have 5, and brother, let me tell you, we are constantly cleaning. Well, okay, so we tend to adopt in pairs. The first 2 we got was right after Tina's cat that she'd had for almost 20 years. We'd have her put down because she was going into renal failure. So about 3 or 4 months later, after she gets over that, she found a couple of cats online. So we went to the Humane Society to look at them. And there was a mother and daughter. And she went to specifically look at the daughter with the idea that we could look at the mother too, but she wanted to take the daughter home because the daughter was only like 9 months old. Long story short, we ended up taking both cats home. So, okay, that's the first 2. So we're good. 2 cats are good. And then about 3 years ago, we were looking for another cat. She wanted, because both of those cats somehow or another ended up my cats. She was looking for one that would, cuddle with her and hang out with her. No, they're both my cats. And DiBiase's all over Coco Beware.
Yeah.
So then,
by the way, real quick, hold that story real quick. DiBiase is number 1 in the Rumble.
Yeah.
The reason he's number 1 in the Rumble is because last year in '89, he had picked a number. They used to pick number live, and he didn't like the number, and he ended up paying off Slick to have number 30 in '89. And whoever guy he traded up with Slick got the earlier number. As a result, Jack Tunney made him take number 1 by default for this year. So he got penalized for some of his dastardly deeds of the year before that. By the way, great long-term storytelling by Vince.
Yes.
Continue, DJ. I'm sorry.
So she wanted another cat. She wanted one was hers. She wanted to look at a male. So she found this Maine Coon at an adoption event. And he was about a 5-year-old male. He'd been an outside cat. So we tried it out. He went really, really well. We had him for a year. He ended up long story short, he ended up with lung cancer and we had to have him put down.
Mm.
So she spent about 2 or 3 months after that. And she started looking online again and she found another pair of Maine Coons, brother and sister, that were about a year old. We went and looked at them and it took them all about 30 seconds to realize a couple of suckers had walked in. So we ended up leaving with those 2. So now we're up to 4. So I've got a mother and daughter and a brother and sister. And then about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, my son moved in and he brought his cat with him. So we're up to 5. I don't recommend it. And goodbye, Coco.
Boy, Coco, great worker, man. He really is.
Oh, highly underrated, criminally underrated guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just sent you guys the link in your email with he was on Joe Rogan and he was telling the story.
Who was on Rogan?
Jake was, and he and
a couple years ago, right.
Yeah, and he was telling the story about Savage made him test the snake out backstage before they did it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I heard that story. Yeah, heard that story.
Yeah, and he did a spot on impersonation of Savage. Yeah. It was great.
Yeah, his Savage imitation is actually really, really good.
Marty Jannetty taking ass whooping.
Another coked out.
Yeah.
Problem child here. It is what it is, man.
He still is on some weird
these
stuff.
are all AWA guys, right? Because Marty and Sean were AWA tag team, right?
They were.
Yeah, that's what they were.
And I think DiBiase was there for a spell.
Yeah, the Midnight Rockers, I think they were called.
Yeah, they were the Midnight Rockers. Yep.
There's Virgil. Rest in peace.
Yeah, Virgil's gone.
Yep. DiBiase's still with us. He has his own podcast.
Oh, yeah.
His own podcast, doing very well.
He was on Monday Night Raw a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Or not Raw, but Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And Marty is somehow. I don't know how Marty has survived, but he's still here.
Marty's on that.
How somebody hasn't taken him out is beyond me.
I'll tell you. Wow, he's on that Jake shit. Jake is the one, the 9 Lives guy, in wrestling. He's the one guy that should have been dead a long time ago, Jake, but he's not. That's one guy that should have been dead a long time ago.
Yeah,
but he said
Jake will tell you that.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
DiBiase and Marty going to work here. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a match I would like to have seen go maybe 8 to 10 minutes, like in just a singles match.
Yeah.
This is the beauty of Royal Rumbles too. You can see things that you probably wouldn't see in a normal rivalry, but like
nice elimination.
Yep.
Because these older ones, they would give you these one-on-one sequences. Like you don't get as many of those now.
No,
I feel like this year did it a little more. I think they gave us a bit more of those. Hey, I want to see these two guys lock up.
Yeah, because now more they tend to fill the ring up now and then more now.
Yeah.
Okay, this Jake. Okay, so
now business is about to pick up.
This is significant though because
they
were feuding. Jake was actually hurt in real time though for about 9 months. And what they did in the storyline was that DiBiase, I think, put him in the $1 million dream, and he injured his neck. But that was kind of part of the whole plot, the whole storyline.
So I've heard
this is his return. This is a return to action first match back.
Okay, I heard 2 different versions of that. Another version that I heard was that Jake went to jail for 9 months after getting in a fight.
Well,
I mean, he got in a fight with some guy, and he ended up doing some jail time for it.
Well, look, either one is believable.
Either one is absolutely believable.
And you're probably right. I'm saying the storyline was that he was hurt.
But I mean, the reasons behind the scene was
right.
I think that he actually had to serve some jail time.
Wow.
These fuckers had great chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they did, yeah.
Yeah, these guys were awesome. Jake, you talk about underrated, and anybody who's been watching for any period of time won't tell you, that they'll agree that he was. It's kind of a weird thing with Jake because he was so over, and it's hard to say that a guy was underrated, but it just he never did hit DiBiase with that DDT, did he?
No, they never had it yet. The knee lift?
No, the DDT.
No.
Did he ever actually get it on him?
No, he tried to, but he set him up for it, but he wasn't able to.
Yeah.
I think he finally did when they had the blow-off match. He finally did.
Gotcha. Okay.
Jake, I don't think he's inarguable. I think he's inarguable. Jake is probably the greatest non-champion in history of the company. I'm not even joking when I say that.
No, you're correct. Absolutely correct.
And look who's that.
Look
who it is there. Savage.
Going right after Jake.
Look at a selling job. Look at a sell job, dude. Probably the greatest seller in the history of the company.
Savage was still lean. I love Savage's tights here. Those things are sharp.
Yeah. It's funny because he was starting to. This is the era now too. Also, where he started wearing longer attire. He had done shorts all his entire career. I think around this time when he started to do the more flashier, which we'll see the years to come, the hats and the, what I mean, because that came out of his King gimmick actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny because like these 2 guys 2 years before this were feuding for the title.
Yeah.
Funny how things change.
Now they're just wearing out Jake Roberts.
Yeah.
Talk about selling. Jake the Snake can sell like a mother too, man.
Oh yeah.
Like Jay can make you believe he's just getting beat to death out there.
Well, he told great stories. He knew how to storytell.
And also, like, they don't do the overselling.
No, neither Savage.
Yeah.
See, HBK is a good seller too, to a point, but if he wants to be an asshole, he'll oversell to be an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on another podcasting project where we're doing something similar. We're going through the big 4, big 5 projects. We're actually up to like 95 right now. And I just watched Shawn Michaels versus Diesel. And Shawn's overselling the hell out of shit there.
Yeah.
Unhinged Roddy Piper.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I've said, maybe you might agree with me on this one. And we should probably do a draft one day on this. 89-90 era WWE in terms of roster and talent, probably top 2 or 3 most talented rosters in history of the company. When you consider not just in talent, but name value too.
Because they basically it was down to them in the NWA or in the Crockett territory.
Right.
They were the last 2 people standing, and so they had basically, between the 2 of them, they had, anybody who was worth anything was working for one of the 2 of them.
Yeah.
And because just look at these 4 people right here. I mean, Piper,
Savage, all 4 of these guys are household names. All 4.
Yeah.
Legit top 50 guys.
Yeah.
All 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, Savage is a top 10 guy, definitely. Roddy is a fringe top 10 guy. Jake is definitely a top 30 to 40 guy. Greatest non-champion in history of the company. DiBiase is one of the greatest workers of all time. Probably a top 5 heel in the history of wrestling. He's up there. He's definitely up there.
Yeah.
And to me, Sherry is a top 5 manager to me.
Sherry made everything she touched better.
But it's funny because, like, when people say, "Oh, what about Heyman?" But the thing is, whoever Sherry worked with, they got better because of her. Yeah, Shawn Michaels got better because of her.
She made Shawn Michaels. She made that work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
think he probably could have done some of it on his own, but it wouldn't have been nearly as effective without her.
I don't think Savage needed Sherry, but
she added
those work though, she added more to his legacy because you realize, so he's done with the docile version of a female manager, and now the chaotic one, and birth was perfection.
Yeah,
that was part of what made that work was the very thought it's not Elizabeth.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he had become synonymous with Elizabeth, and
as a fan, being objective about the art itself, you really didn't miss Elizabeth because Sherry was more than enough to enjoy what she was doing.
And Sherry was physical. She went in there and she
got involved.
Yeah, and she took bumps, and she and all the way up to when she was with Harlem Heat. Booker and Stevie, they swear by her.
Oh God, they love the shit out of
anybody that worked with her, I think.
Yeah. No, she's actually one of the most, like, from what I've heard, she is probably one of the most loved individuals in pro wrestling. No one has a bad thing to say about her whatsoever. No one. When she passed away, a lot of people were gutted by that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're trying to DiBiase and Macho are wearing out Jake the Snake.
So we got a bunch of the best workers ever, and then we got the Warlord.
I mean, the Warlord was a body guy.
Oh yeah. Yes, in every sense of the word. I
don't know how you guys feel about this though, but it pissed me off that they broke up the Powers of Pain.
I mean, it was
I thought that could have worked.
Well, it's just, Demolition was like the great value Hawk and Animal, and Powers of Pain were like the
value,
the flea market.
Good and gather.
Yeah.
Use a Target reference. That's Brett.
Here comes the hit, man.
The excellence of execution. Go ahead.
That the weightlifting angle that the Powers of Pain did with the Road Warriors was like it was excellent.
What was that?
It was from the NWA together.
Okay, was it after they left the company?
Oh no, it was before they
before
left the NWA. It was like a few months before the Powers of Pain left the NWA and came to WWA.
Oh, so it's like 87, 88. Okay.
Yeah,
he
and
crushed Animal Space, and he had to wear a face mask. And
I gotta see that.
Yeah, because I mean they did it because Animal like really got injured, and they did like the cover for it, but it is just insane.
I mean, Warlord wasn't that bad, was he?
It depended on who he was working with. He had a couple of really good matches with Davey Boy.
He had a good match with Tito too, also.
Yeah.
But again, Tito is a great worker.
Yeah, if you get in there with a guy who can work and you just listen to him, you know, especially with a guy like Brett or something like that, if you listen to him and just follow direction, you're going to have a good match.
Yeah, Savage and Brett. I always say, you want to see a great Savage and Brett match? Sign up main event, November 1987.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. That was Savage's push to the title. This doesn't get a lot of play because of, you know, it was the middle of Savage and Honky's feud, but you know, Honky being in line with Jimmy Hart and Hart Foundation cost Savage a title, the IC title, getting it back, and for the next main event they did a Brett and Savage match, and that was a fantastic match. I always recommend that match to everybody.
Vaguely remember that match.
Yeah, you get a chance to watch it.
Forever. Yeah.
Right. If you get a chance to watch a match, you know, watch it. I don't think we covered it here, actually, to be honest with you. Bad News Allen? Bad News Allen?
Oh, this guy. God,
well, growing up, I hate him. Now, love him. Now knowing I know now, now in hindsight, love him. You need that badass who's good as a fuck. I hate everybody.
He's gone too now, isn't he?
Yeah, he died also. Yeah, he died also too.
Yeah,
he has good stories to share too. Also, he has some good stories on the internet about Andre.
Oh, short clothesline.
DDT. Nope. Savage, get him out.
Oh yeah.
Savage ruined that shit.
Yep. We'll have none of that, sir.
Macho and DiBiase. Savage is small in there too. This looks very small.
Oh yeah.
That's a former world champion there, buddy.
Come on, man, because like those last days in WCW, he was all roided up, man.
And that was the thing. He never needed to do all that.
No.
Like, he really never needed all that. Savage didn't. And some of that may just be the pressure of the business, and some of that may have just been his personal preference. I don't know. But for me, it was very disappointing. And I think he, you know, granted, by the time he got to WCW, I believe he was in his 40s. So his mobility wasn't going to be what it was 10 years ago anyway. But the extra bulk I don't think it helped him any.
Yeah.
No, because especially his work rate was not as great, obviously, in comparison anyway. I'm not saying it wasn't great. But oh, here we go, Dusty.
American Dream.
So Dusty and Macho were feuding this time also. Yeah. So here we go. Where's Dusty go to? To the Savage. Sell time. Bang. What a great seller. And that said that one. Elbow. He's so good. Macho's so good in the ring, man. So
yeah.
Oh, look at this bump here. Look at that bump.
And he's out.
Savage has taken that bump so many times.
Yeah.
He took that bump.
Insane
bump. He took that bump. He took the bump at Mania 3 with Steamboat. He took it with Brett in that same match I was talking about earlier, where he actually I don't know if it was kayfabe or not though, but he hurt his ankle. But I think that was really fake because I think it was kayfabe because I think they're trying to make him more sympathetic, trying to continue to make him more and more sympathetic with that run to the title. Remember, he just turned face like 2 months before then.
Yeah.
Savage is gone.
So what do you do? Does it get eliminated off camera here?
Oh no, Dusty backdropped him over the top rope.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. I saw that. I was thinking of somebody else. Never mind.
Yeah. All right. So they got Roddy, and Warlord. I was never a big Rowdy guy growing up, man. I get it now in hindsight, but I was never a big Rowdy guy growing up.
I hated him because you were supposed to. I was all in for his babyface run, though. I was here for it.
Yeah, I was too. But I never got to absorb his heel run because in real time, because by the time I started watching 87, he's already a face.
Yeah.
And there's the big guy.
Oh, Big Andre.
This is his last legs here. He's in his last legs.
Yeah.
He would retire, I think, the year after this. Pretty much his workload went significantly down after this Mania, actually, in fact.
And I mean, I think Roddy was one of the first people to get hip to Hogan's backstage stuff.
Who was? Andre was?
Roddy.
Roddy. Oh, hell yeah.
Because I remember just like hearing some interviews with him talking about it. He was, I mean, because if you watch their matches, like he didn't cooperate. He didn't.
Mm-hmm. Nah, he was the original. Not going to work for me, brother.
Well, and because I mean, and there were some interviews where he even said like,
"I'm sorry,
Fuji was about to whack Bobby."
The two heel managers getting at it, Fuji and Bobby. I'm sorry, that spot.
No, it's funny because but I mean, he was very blunt about it. He's like, basically he saw, Hogan kick out people's finishers and then drop the leg on him. He's like, "You're not doing that shit to me."
Yeah.
Oh, did you see Andre emulate Warlord to ease?
Yeah.
He hip tossed him out of the ring.
Yeah.
And that's what's like
he's wearing out.
Yeah, because Warlord is a huge guy, and he looked like a kid.
Yeah, he's Hogan. He's Hogan huge, like 300 pounds, and Diesel.
Andre's like, now Andre's wearing out, dusty, and
Andre's like, "Go, Warlord, go!"
And he's choking out Roddy in the corner.
Yeah.
Who was Andre feuding with here? Was he actually feuding with anyone?
He was in a tag team with Haku at this point.
Okay, all right, yeah, because they hadn't done the split yet.
Yeah, you were a few months away from the split. Oh,
this was the worst gimmick ever.
This was awful. And I remember watching Terry Taylor when he was in the other territories, and I'm like, this guy's pretty friggin' good. And then they did this to him.
The worst part too is that. Hold on. Oh, Roddy and bad news. Whoop! Goodbye. The worst part is that Terry Taylor, like Bruce Pritchard, would sit there and try to justify in his podcast. Oh, well, if you made it work, you embraced it, it'd be okay. No, asshole. You own up to it. You fucked with him. And you know what?
It was a rib. It really was a rib, and it wasn't a good one.
Right, stop. Like, in fact, he was sitting there and trying to justify it's fucking stupid. Like, stop.
Bruce justifies everything.
Yeah, Bruce is so fucking. I love his podcast, but sometimes he's just like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Oh yeah, I can't listen to him.
No, because he's a sycophant for.
He really is. He really
he's
is.
a Vince apologist. He really is. And it's on full display in that Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix.
Yeah.
Honestly, I still haven't watched it, and
why haven't you watched it? What the hell?
Because I mean,
no, it's worth watching though. It really is worth watching.
It really is, Rob. It's really not that bad.
You're
not going to learn anything aside from maybe a few bits and bobs here and there, but it's well put together, if nothing else.
I guess I've already made up my mind about Vince.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though. It doesn't really actually glorify Vince at all either. Is the thing.
It doesn't. It's really not. It actually paints him in a pretty awful light in a lot of areas. Like you really, that's who this guy was.
Yeah, definitely worth it.
But like when people talk about bad gimmicks now, like please, we
are about to head into some of the worst in about 5 years from this point.
And yet, isn't Terry Taylor still the worst one, Red Rooster?
Oh, yeah, because they killed his career. I mean, he wasn't taken seriously ever again after this.
Yeah.
Nope. Nothing Terry Taylor did.
Thank you, Vince. There's Axe and Smash. Well, Axe.
And again, incredible worker. Good Southern wrestling style worker.
Yeah.
Andre giving Axe some too, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's letting him have it.
Jeez, they hit him in the nuts.
Yeah. Man, that was it.
Yeah.
There you go. Choke his ass.
Although Axe strikes me as a guy, if you don't give him a little bit, he's just going to take it from you.
Mm-hmm.
He strikes me as one of those last of the tough guy type of dudes.
Yeah. I feel like him and Andre probably got along very well.
Yeah, if Andre didn't like you, he didn't give you nothing.
Yeah. Nope.
Axe Savage, he'll tell you. Well, that's Hogan anyway. Baby oil. Oh, baby oil.
That's my favorite. Get out.
Oh, that's
now, granted, DJ, that is Hogan's story. That's Hogan has to embellish shit. So I'm not saying it's not true, but you might embellish that just a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
By the way, Rob, in about an hour and a half, Heat and Knicks. So be ready for it.
Yeah.
So Dusty and Axe teaming up right now. Demolition right now at this time was still a babyface.
Yeah.
Both got nut shots. Look at that. Both fucking Andre, dude.
Both of you get off of me.
There's Haku. There's Andre's tag team partner. By the way, they were also tag champions at this time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And they were feuding with Demolition.
And like everybody says, Haku was like the nicest guy in the world right up until you make him angry.
Don't fuck with him though. Yep, he was another one of those guys. No one fucked with Hogan though because Hogan was the cash cow.
Yeah, nobody gave Hogan. But again, I think Hogan was always good with the Tongans and the NOIs.
Oh yeah. What question?
Like I think he was always. I jokingly say this on our podcast all the time. I think the NOI family has secretly been running the industry for about 4 decades, but everybody just kayfabes it.
I can see the argument. You can sell me that.
It's like you can mess with anybody you want. Don't mess with the Tongans and don't mess with the NOI.
Exactly. You know, for someone that was really like body wise didn't really like look great, Dusty was good in ring, man. Dusty was agile as hell.
Dusty was good with the body language. Dusty was good at the stuff that mattered the most.
Right.
The body language, the taking an ass whipping. He got all of that. You know, move for move, he probably wasn't as crisp as most guys, but the stuff that mattered, Dusty was.
But you wouldn't think for a guy his size that he'd be as good as he was in ring.
Right. I mean, he was throwing drop kicks, and he was moving around in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a video out there of like some of the NWA guys playing basketball against like a local police department or something, and he's out there like running the court and hitting layups and stuff. I mean,
yeah.
Well, he was a football player prior to wrestling, wasn't he?
And basketball too.
Yeah, football and basketball. I mean,
and really good at basketball. And really good at basketball, bud. For the record, really good.
Yeah.
Now we got both Demolition in there.
Oh, and
wearing out Andre.
So Dusty, I'm gonna say. So another gimmick that Vince. Now, granted, you couldn't ruin Dusty because Dusty's name was so big and didn't matter, but the whole polka dots thing, and Vince doing that. Come on, man.
Yeah, that was pretty egregious. But unlike Terry Taylor, which still stands as a worse gimmick, Dusty made it work. Well, and I've heard people tell stories about that. They're like, Dusty's like, okay, I'll make it work, and he did. And even Dusty said in an interview before he passed away, he's like, yeah, it was what it was. I've still got money in my bank account from the polka dot era.
Yeah. And but the thing is though, Dusty was also a well-known name though too.
Yeah. I could not tell you how disappointed I was in his WWE run though.
Who, Dusty?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was fun for what it was, but I had loftier expectations of Dusty in WWE.
But that wasn't. But and you might be right about that, but that wasn't a Dusty problem. That was a Vince problem.
Well, that's my point. Yeah. It had nothing to do with Dusty. It had to do with the booking and what Vince saw or didn't see with him. Depending on which side of the story you listen to, Dusty, I think, was kind of burnt out on being the booker and all the stuff that he was doing over in WCW/NWA. And when he came to WWE, Vince just said, you know what, just go out there and have fun. Don't worry about all that other stuff. Just go out and have fun. So maybe this is all Dusty wanted, was to just go in, be a worker, and let somebody else do the heavy lifting. Here's your favorite guy.
I love Hakeem, dude. Look at him. Look at him. He's having fun and embracing it. Right there. No, but Dusty, too, also, he had good feuds, though. In that little run, he started with Honky and Boss Man, and then Savage.
Yeah.
The Savage was amazing. The Savage Dusty feud was actually really good. Really, really good. Did he feud with DiBiase after that? And then he was gone. I thought his run wasn't as good as it should have been because given the name who he is, but I thought given what he was working with, I thought he made it work. And Andre is gone.
Well, I guess
Andre's gone.
If you'd watched Dusty in the NWA, like he, it was hard to take because he was.
Well, of course, that's what I'm saying.
Now, granted, he was also booking when he was a main eventer, but still, I mean, seeing him go from being in the main event all the time and all of that, it was a little hard to.
Vince was never putting him in the Hogan spot or the Warrior spot, for that matter.
Well, he shouldn't have done that.
Or even the Savage spot. The most we got was, he beat Savage at Mania, but of course that was a mixed tag match. But you never get in that spot.
Well, at that point, he shouldn't have anyway. It's just.
Could you have seen Dusty as a top guy in that era? Is that possible?
Not at all.
Not here. No, not at this point. No, because he was already older and breaking down. I mean.
But see him having something other than like polka dots and dancing around, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what.
And for as fun as Miss Sapphire was,
that was
it. Yeah,
is the alleged murderer.
Yeah,
super coke.
Yeah,
super fly. I like the song. He was fucking
being none the wiser as a kid. I liked Jimmy Snuka.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. At this point, he was way past the prime.
Talk about check cashing.
Oh yeah.
Akeem. I can't even just give it. Made it 2 years. Look at. Just dancing.
That is nuts.
And he's gone.
That's great.
Like,
so they didn't really give him any instructions. They gave him the gimmick and was like, just whatever, man. Yeah.
Well, to his credit though, he made it work.
Oh yeah.
For what it was. When you have Slick there too on top of that, encouraging that shit. By the way, guys, I've asked you a question, and maybe my ears were not working properly this afternoon. But I was watching WrestleMania 4 earlier, and I was watching the Savage Butch Reed first round match in the tournament.
Yeah.
Did they pull Jysol Pro?
I don't know.
Did they pull what?
Jysol Pro? Jysol.
I mean, did they stop?
Yeah. Some of the music they don't have rights to. There's some stuff that they don't play on the Peacock. Yes, that's probably accurate because I was talking about that on the other project that I'm doing. We were in the Lex Express era, and there was a song at the end of one of the pay-per-views that in real time was one thing, and then on the Peacock it's something else.
Yeah, because like on all if you watch any of the NWA pay-per-views that they have on there, they dub over the music because then they used a lot of the territories used what was supposed to be licensed music, but they didn't pay for it because because the record companies weren't bothering to look at the wrestling show to see who was using their songs.
The Steiners used to come out to Welcome to the Jungle.
But wouldn't that song be WWE or WWE owned because that was part of the 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 pile driver.
You never know with this like music rights and this publishing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would be so fucking pissed if that song was gone. As someone who watches 80s, 90s wrestling very often, and I watch Slick often, that is going to be a problem for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'd have to look at my because I have like a whole bunch of about 20 years ago, WWE put out an anthology CD set. There's like 4 or 5 CDs, and it's from different eras. And I'd have to see if Slick's music's on there because it covers this era. It covers the 80s.
Yeah,
I'll have to get back with you guys. I'll check that out.
It came. Actually, that's actually on Apple Music though too. Also,
yeah.
So,
DiBiase still in there.
Yeah, he's doing a whole like Flair thing from '92. Although Flair went third, I think, in that one. I think Flair was third in that Rumble, not first. What number we're at now? I think probably like 18, 19, maybe a little even deeper.
Something like that. I've lost count. I've just been watching.
Still haven't seen Hogan. still haven't seen Warrior. Still haven't seen Perfect. You seen the Earthquake though?
Oh, here comes Earthquake. Big boy season. You gotta wonder. I always wondered this. It's like you got so many guys during the Vince booking era who you really think that they're going to strap the rocket to them, and then for whatever reason, he just turns on a dime, and it's inexplicable.
The thing is,
well, I take like Mr. Perfect is, for lack of a better word, the perfect example. Like what happened with that there? Because the guy was over, the guy could work, the guy could promo, he had all the tools.
Well, he did.
Why did all of a sudden we go from we're going to do something with this guy to we're not, like literally overnight.
I think
I don't know. I agree wholeheartedly with that though. When you say rocket, do you mean the guy or being in the conversation? Because I think if you're at least in the conversation, that means you did get the rocket ship strapped. And Perfect did feud Hogan around this time. He also got the IC championship as a result after this.
Because there comes a point like when the top is kind of entrenched, then if there's only so high you can go. But like prime example now is like LA Knight, right? I mean,
there you go. It's a perfect example. And you're gonna go there LA Knight, and you're gonna say that.
Like, he's kind of stuck.
LA Knight's age is working against him too.
Yeah, but also he's kind of stuck. I mean, because
I don't know why it hurt him though. Some of the guys right now on top of the card in their 40s too.
Yeah, I think it's just he got there the wrong. I mean, if he had gotten there a few years earlier, then he might be in place of something like.
But I don't.
Somebody else's place.
But I don't think there's nothing. But this is the thing. Like I think maybe we're interpreting rocket ship 2 different ways. To me, even if you're in a mid card, but you're doing productive things in mid card and you're getting a lot of juice and you get a lot of attention, to me this is valuable. Like to me, I always said, the mid card should matter. Still has to matter. You can't have a company to succeed without having a strong mid card, a strong lower card, and a strong top of the card.
Yeah, I think that's the IWC thing, though. They value, being in the mid card is looked at as punishment or looked at as.
But the thing is,
the booker doesn't like you.
But with a roster of 200 plus people, not everybody can be top of the card.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, but it's looked at. Over the last 10 years or so, it's been looked at as either punishment or as the booker doesn't like you enough. And
so, right. Oh, wow. 8 guys took out Earthquake.
Whereas, Santana was one of the most valuable people they had in the 1980s.
Yeah. So, Earthquake, rocket ship, he got it. He didn't get a title, but you know what? He feuded with Hogan. Okay. He was the biggest heel in the company for a while, too. This year, 1990, he was the biggest heel in the company. That to me, that's rocket ship for me. And remember too, also too, in this era of booking, Vince had a specific plan. I want a baby face to represent for the kids and clean cut. So if you were a heel like a DiBiase, and the way he was used for those years he was there in the company, he got the rocket ship because he was the number 1 heel in the company.
Yeah.
But you weren't going to win the title.
Yeah, but now using today's standards of pro wrestling, you can use that logic, I think, because today's standards, if you weren't getting at least a touch of the title, then yeah, maybe it's punishment. But back then, if you were at least if you were even at least feuding with Hogan or feuding with Savage or feuding with Warrior, you made it.
Yeah. Well. Now, I mean, today you have 2 world titles. You have, 2. You have Raw and SmackDown.
And there's more space now to succeed now because of that.
Yeah, I mean, but
there's Warrior.
But even then, there's still like again, like with LA Knight, there's a ceiling, and he probably won't get past it because of when he arrived there and who all was there at the time.
Yeah, I think LA Knight 5 years sooner probably would have been in a different spot.
He's what, 43, 44?
Yeah,
something like that.
But he can still get. But the thing is, though, I still look at that as, yeah, he's not gonna get the top of the card, but the last year or so, he's been so over. He's getting pops almost as close as Cody's getting pops.
Yeah,
he's 42.
Yeah, so I mean, I think he's making it work because he's doing good matches. The crowd loves him, which also translates to money. You're making money because people want to buy your shit. I'm sure he's making money as a result of his push last year. I don't think you need to be at top of the card unless the company has a strategic plan to make you that guy. Vince picked,
and that's why you don't just put the title on LA Knight, because as Rob always says, then what?
But this is why the U.S. title matters. This is why the IC title matters.
Yeah.
These guys, if you can't get to Roman status, you can still make it work as a mid-carder. I care about those matches too also. Make me care about it.
Now, it's kind of on, but then I think this is where the IWC is blank, because even today, like, the U.S. title doesn't get talked about like as much. And even like
Shinsuke hasn't defended the fucking thing.
Well, so then we go back to the problem. The problem isn't the wrestlers anymore. It's the company.
It's the booking. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's
treat the title like less than.
Yeah, because Magnum T and Tully Blanchard feuded over the U.S. title, and that was like main event level. That's one of the greatest feuds in NWA history. And I Quit match is one of the greatest matches in wrestling history, and that was over the U.S. title. And then you got in WWE, you had Savage and Steamboat, and you gotta. Like you have to make the things important. You have to not just put the belt on somebody and have them defend it. You got to have feuds, and you got to put creative time and energy into the feuds and all that.
Yeah.
Which is, and that's what we've been saying about about the women's stuff, is that like it's kind of the same thing now. They don't put the effort and energy into the making the feuds a big deal and all of that type of stuff. You gotta, but now, because those Intercontinental title feuds used to be a big deal, and then U.S. title feuds in NWA used to be a big deal, and with
all the space they have, all the TV they have, and all the amount of things, there's no excuse to not make it important. That's a well, I say Vince now. Vince's not here anymore. That's a Hunter problem.
Yeah,
make it work. You okay? So he's not defending the title. Then put on somebody else. I don't see why. I don't know why that's even remotely an issue. Make the fucking titles matter.
Well, it's like I look at the Intercontinental Championship. I still think the wrong woman won, and that's not a knock on Lyra Valkyria. I think Dakota Kai should have won it. I think Dakota Kai is somebody who translates better on TV.
I forgot about that. Actually, they have a women's Intercontinental champion now.
Well, and see, that's the point. Yeah. You've already forgotten about it. It's 2 months old, and you've already forgotten about it. And that's a problem.
Yeah, and because on the other hand, what they're doing with Chelsea Green is great, because she's embodied the whole thing, and you gotta, even like with Braun Breaker, it's like, okay, he's an Intercontinental champion, but it's kind of like, so
Yeah.
it's like, and and
there are guys also that don't need a title too. Look at Jake Roberts, dude. Again, I mentioned a couple times in this podcast. Like Jake Roberts is to me the greatest non-champion ever, and he was in this era arguably a top 3 babyface.
Yeah.
Okay, and a top 3 heel when he was a heel.
Yep.
To me, that's rocket ship status for me.
But it's just that's one of those things that, well, like, and it's not even, it's a industry wide problem. I think nobody really nobody books the mid card as that important. I mean,
that's a problem with the company. Then that's not a problem with the wrestlers.
I mean,
crying out loud, Ultimate Warrior was a mid carder, crying out loud, and he made it to the top.
Yeah,
he's considered right here as IC champion. He's technically a mid carder, technically.
Yeah.
And
okay, but he's getting top guy pop. Why? Because they prioritized it.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to give AEW a bit of credit here.
Really?
Well, just because
now, what I wonder if would Rob 2020 Rob the genius be impressed, happy with 2025 Rob giving credit? Hey, I'm gonna tell you our cousin Duke about this.
Well, no, because now, good grief, he's gonna have something to say about that.
Right now, Duke is throwing things at the wall.
Yeah.
Well, because right now the past few months that they've had like Ospreay and Kenny not challenging for the world title, but they've been in feuds, and it's technically mid card stuff because they're not in the main event. And all this stuff with Swerve and Ricochet is not in the main event. It's, by definition, it's in the middle of the card.
Yeah.
And that's some of their best stuff that they have going on. Now, of course, the main event level stinks right now, but,
they don't really have a main event draw.
Well, it's just because
they really don't.
They really don't. They have great talent, but to your point, I mean, who's your main event draw? Moxley still probably.
Well, that whole Death Rider stuff stinks. I mean,
right. So
and by the way, man.
It stinks. If it was good, then it would be a draw what they're doing. But it stinks, and the concept is a good idea, and it would work if it didn't stink.
And by the way, I've checked out of AEW. I don't know what's going on. You can tell me. I checked out over a year ago. I haven't watched a single thing of AEW programming in over a year.
Well, see, I didn't check in until a year ago.
I checked in at the beginning of the year because they started airing on Max, and I have Max.
Are you enjoying it?
They're not hooking me, man. I'm enjoying matches. Like you said, they've got some incredible talent on that show. And there are individual wrestlers that I enjoy seeing, but the experience as a whole, no.
Yeah, because again, storytelling.
Really not enjoying it
because storytelling matters, DJ. You know this.
I know, and they don't have any. They've got some great wrestlers. They don't have very many natural storytellers, and the people who think they're telling good stories aren't.
Yeah,
like bell to bell, Mercedes Moné is as good as she ever was as Sasha Banks. Anything that she's doing, unrelated to the ring work itself, is horrible. It's horrible. And that I can say that about most of the people on their roster. Once the bell rings, they're as good as anybody. It's all the stuff in between that matters that they're just not doing very well.
And here's a Hulkster.
Yep. And there goes Haku.
Yeah, he took out.
Hulk's already eliminated 2 people?
Yeah, Snuka was the first one.
Snuka and Haku, and I think Honky's getting ready to go. Tito just eliminated. Nope.
These two fuckers put on some great matches this year too. Also,
oh,
Tito and Rick. Oh my god,
that was my favorite feud this year of work rate stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to see those guys a couple times at house shows in Orlando, and it was a lot of fun.
Tito's gone. Honky's going to be gone in a second.
Tito and Savage were excellent together too.
Yes,
of course.
I mean, man, because they feuded like in '86, like over Intercontinental title, and
85,
I
86.
mean, man, that was some really good stuff.
I
You're
watched
talking
those
about the
matches
mid card, man. Tito made the mid card during that era. Like
That's
his Intercontinental Championship run is
that is literally the theme of this podcast. We're mentioning guys who are all mid card guys that end up getting to the top.
Yeah, I mean, because like now, I mean, like if there would be a bunch of people saying that Tito was being buried and underutilized and that he would need to leave now. Yeah,
I think it was I read somewhere one time that Vince briefly toyed with the idea of giving Tito a brief world championship run. I think Vince was a fan of Tito Santana, which is why Tito worked there for probably 5 years after his expiration date.
And there's
Sean. Now Tito was one of my. Tito was my first. Man, Sean was in and right back out.
Here we go.
Here it is.
The first tease. These guys will meet, of course, a few months after this. Now, let me ask you guys a question. Did you think that? Okay, this is going to be a Mania match? Because remember, babyface was not a thing back then.
Well, when I saw this, yes, this is to me. When I saw this,
absolutely. Because
you don't do this for nothing.
Did you think that was a possibility Hogan will lose this match to Warrior?
I didn't know that's what made it such a big deal that this was because Warrior was somebody who was physically his equal, and he wasn't like a like a big fat guy like King Kong Bundy or
right. I hate this spot.
Why?
This crisscross run the ropes. I don't know. It just always looked cheesy to me.
That's a question though. Did you hate it? Did you hate it in 1990 also too?
Yes.
Okay.
I did, but I love the double clothesline. The double clothesline was my spot when I wrestled. I love doing the double clothesline, man. That spot has if you do it well, like my buddy Eddie and I, we were practicing one and we went and hit each other. We both kind of jumped into it and we hooked and we had so much momentum. We kind of rotated in midair and then bumped. It was incredible. I wish I could find the video on it because they had a guy running a VHS camera. Just kind of so we could kind of watch tape as we were going along. And we did. We hooked each other in midair, like levitated, rotated, and then came crashing down. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Barbarian. Now, this guy was cool. Unlike the Warlord, he was good.
Yeah, no, Barbarian was actually, he was a good worker. Him
and Haku as the Faces of Fear?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Faces of Fear. They were pretty freaking good in WCW.
By the way, I really want to spend some time on early 90s WCW and then Hogan era WCW. I've been watching a little bit of the I started watching the Nitros recently. Yeah. The beginning early Nitros. They're not terrible. I mean, obviously it's basically taking the same formula of what Vince did in WWF with those same guys. Yeah. I see it work in WCW, but eventually it was stale because again, people wanted fresh and new. And oh, look at that. Who's that? That's Rude.
Rick Rude.
This guy. I'm telling you right now. It is an atrocity. You want to talk about where Vince fucked up the most? How this guy only lasted 3 years in this company.
Yeah, and that's what he was at 3 years. He was at 3 years and he was gone. And he
Mid-Carter,
yeah,
and still made it work, and still made money.
He's a guy that could have made a lot of money with Hogan, though. I could have very easily seen him in a 3-month program with Hogan, and I know they wrestled once, maybe twice, in a match that really didn't matter. But I feel like Rick Rude should absolutely have gotten a brief 3-month run with Hogan.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because he was that damn good. And he was one of those guys that I hated for all the reasons you're supposed to. But you go back and look at his body of work now, that dude was awesome. Yep. Just awesome. He was legit looking. His movements in the ring were legit. Everything about Rick Rude was incredible.
Yeah. Because, he was part of that Minnesota bouncer gang.
Yeah.
Like him, Perfect, Hawk and Animal, and Nikita Koloff, and a few other guys, all from the same area. And they were all working. They were all practicing bars, and they got, they all got discovered around the same time.
Yeah, Rick Rude is one. I would argue he might be one of my top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time.
And he's also one of those. He was also one of those. Don't fuck with this guy in real life people.
Yeah, nice guy though, but don't fuck with him.
Yeah.
Warriors out. And Rude, by the way, Rude would always the Rude and Warrior feud, honestly, went even when they went the original route in '89, they teased it here. They wouldn't feud at this point anymore, but they teased it here a little bit.
Well, I think Rude was his best opponent as far as
by far, and that includes Hogan and Savage. Because outside, maybe Savage has a case because of the angle for the title and him costing the title, but when it's talking about storytelling wise, Warrior and Rude had a larger story to tell.
Yeah,
well, I think Rude and Warrior had really good chemistry in the ring together.
Well, and that's because they had history together outside of WWE.
Did it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they worked. I was going through some WWE territory things on the network probably about 8 or 10 years ago, and I don't know if it was World Class or what, but yeah, it was Rick Rude versus the Dingo Warrior.
Oh, okay, yeah,
yeah. So yeah, they had history prior to WWE.
You know, we haven't touched on this yet. We are recording this the night after Elimination Chamber. DJ, quick thoughts on Cena's turn last night, heel turn. Quick thoughts.
Incredible. And unfortunately, I didn't watch it live because my girlfriend and I had a work function that I went to.
Yeah. So
I ended up watching it. Actually, I just finished it about 20 minutes before we went live on this. Incredible, man. I'm mad that I spoiled it for myself. You know, because you were messaging me like, DJ, have you seen the Elimination Chamber? I said not yet. You're like, stay off social media, and I'm like,
I tried, brother. I tried, man. I tried.
I tried.
Yeah,
he tried to save me from myself.
I had a couple of friends too, also, who I told not to watch anything. Watch it first before you do it. My son, I sent my son to bed early. Not early. When the show ended. Well, when the match ended, I sent him to bed thinking the show's over. But he's a big Cena mark, and then he's in the bed, whatever, and it's still going on. Like, oh, whatever. And then the shit happens. I'm like, oh snap! I'm like, you know what? I gotta show him in the morning, but I didn't want to tell him. I wanted him to watch it.
Just watch it as it happened. Yeah, you got to do that.
And I think he was stunned, to say the least.
We talked on the Mindless Wrestling podcast about John's future in the next, through 2025. And one thing we had talked about, it would be neat because I think we all three picked him to win the Elimination Chamber. We sure as hell didn't call what happened, but our thought was he loses to Cody at WrestleMania, and then somewhere towards the end of the year, he finally makes 17 before he goes out the door.
I forgot.
I think there's a better story with him winning and beating Cody, and then somebody trying to take it off of him before the end of the year.
I forgot. I wasn't aware of that. I thought the end was actually at Mania. I didn't realize he had the whole year ahead of us now.
No, it's December. And actually, I think they're naming the December premium live event Ruthless Aggression, aren't they, Rob?
That's the rumor, and it's in Boston.
It's in Boston.
They're
thinking about calling it Ruthless Aggression, and that'll be his farewell. But yeah, I think there's a better story with him beating Cody.
At this point, I mean, because you can't. At this point, if Cody just keeps going, like, I mean, I think we're kind of at the point of like, okay, what are we doing?
But this though triggers, Cody. It refreshes Cody.
I think this reinvigorated Cody Rhodes' story. It really did for me, because it was getting a little, like Rob said, what are we doing here? This breathes some life into it, and it'll legitimize his babyface run.
But that's to be expected, though, especially too with when you beat Roman, you can't do nothing but go down, because you're not, unless you face The Rock or there's nothing you can do really to make this any bigger. Cody, to his credit, is having great matches. No one's saying his work great. No one's saying his work isn't great. His work is fantastic. But nice spot there by Perfect and Rude there.
Yep, that was great.
Great spot. But in terms of character, and I think again this comes to be a company problem. Who's the next guy? Who's the next guy? And we were all warning this before Cody got a title last year. Okay, once he gets the title, now what? Who are you building as the next guys he has to go through? And there were really no legit guys you could say were believable that Cody could be. That's the problem.
I thought personally, I think me and DJ both thought that they could have gotten a nice run with Owens if Owens had beaten him and then Cody won it back a month or two later.
Yeah.
Yes.
They had set things up nicely if they wanted to do that. But they didn't. Now we didn't foresee all of this. So but
here it comes. It's Perfect Plex.
Nope.
And nope.
I heard rumors that the initial idea was Perfect and Hogan at WrestleMania.
But again, that goes back to what I was trying to say earlier. If that was the case, what happened? Like, it's very obvious in the early going that Vince is high on Mr. Perfect, and then all of a sudden he just wasn't. Oh, you got to wonder.
I'll tell you exactly what it is. What makes more money? Perfect Hogan or Warrior Hogan? Let's be real.
At this point, Hogan and Warrior, but you easily could have built Perfect up to be a legitimate contender. Like, the guy was that good.
Oh, yeah. And I think also, too, the fact that Hogan was going away as well, too, and that was the best way to segue Hogan and Warrior the title and all that. That's why.
And Vince wasn't going to put the belt on a heel, which I think at the end of the day.
Right.
Yeah. And it's.
You got to bake in the way Vince's mentality back then, too, also. How you book shows.
And remember, this was not the monthly pay-per-view era either.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And look, I mean, a lot of things would have gone differently if they were doing monthly pay-per-views. Some of those guys would have gotten a quick run with the belt, like
absolutely.
Guys like Perfect or DiBiase or Rick Rude would have gotten, in the monthly pay-per-view era, those guys, at least one or two of those guys would have
absolutely
title reign, even if it was just for a month or two.
And to the credit of Perfect also in an era where we're mentioning how the belts, they don't matter as much. They matter back as much now. Back then it did. And Perfect got cashed in on that, right? So after WrestleMania, they vacated the IC belt. Perfect won the title.
Yeah.
So he did get the rocket ship. Ultimately, using that context, of course, of what the era booking back then was versus the booking era today. So he did get it. He did get the push.
Well, because guys got big pushes. A big push didn't. You could get a big back then. You could get a big push and not win the world title.
Absolutely. Because again, no heels are getting titles. No heels are not getting titles. None.
Yeah, I mean, you weren't winning the world title if you were a heel back then. And on the other side, when Rick was dominating the NWA world title, babyfaces weren't getting the belt, but for like a month or so.
Yeah, because
it
was just Valiant and Chase. They understood the Valiant being in Chase than the other way around. Whereas Vince was booking a superhero here. Now, and again, we say that no heels to get titles unless you're Andre the Giant, and he got 30 seconds.
I mean,
that was a plot point. That was a plot device more than anything.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying. So that was Vince's mindset back then.
Well, I mean, and that goes back to his dad because with Bruno
correct
for 8 years, and then
correct.
Then the guy who beat him was Ivan Koloff, had it for a couple of weeks, and then Pedro had it for 3 years, and then like the guy who beat Pedro had it for like a couple of days, and then Bruno won it back and had it for like another 4 years.
You realize? Take away Andre a second. Take away Andre. The only two heels that held the title in the Hulkamania era, at least I remember, Iron Sheik, which bridged to the Hulkamania era.
Yeah,
and then Sergeant fucking Slaughter for 3 months.
Yeah,
Randy Savage was a heel towards the end of his.
Yeah, but he was he started that run as a face.
He started that run as a face, but yeah.
And
I don't even count that.
Yeah, because it's just that was kind of the mentality of that company. I guess going back to go back to Vince Senior, it was just babyface champions, and
that was his formula.
Yeah.
And that's the way things are. It's different eras, different context, different booking, and that's how we have to look at it as fans. Really look at the era, and lucky for us three here as the age we're at, because we watched all that stuff real time and watched today real time. We have, not to sound arrogant here for us three, but we have the better perspective because we have lived all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that matters really, honestly. Anyway. Any last thoughts on this before I get out of here? I gotta go take my kids to the pool quick.
Just man, the collection of talent in that match was just insane.
Yeah, that was easily a top 10 Rumble for me. That was a really good show. When you look at top to bottom.
Yeah,
it was. By the way, Rumble 1990, underrated Rumble.
Yes.
You know, we talk about 92, and was obviously right, so 2020 and all these great Rumbles. This one is actually one of my top 5 Rumbles.
Yeah,
the way it was booked, in other words. So
yeah, and I think a lot of just, to me, it was booked better than, because now with a lot of the modern day Rumbles, it's kind of like they just want to get through the match the way that things are laid out.
You're watching the match to get to the final 4.
Yeah,
and it's just that they just want to get through it, and it's like they don't put as much time into the people who are feuding facing off, or having some type of dream match face off for a minute or two.
I feel like I said earlier, I feel like they started to bring that back this year, though.
They did. Yeah, you're right about that, DJ. I actually agree with you on that.
Even in the women's Rumble.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree with that too. Also, absolutely. All right, fellas, plug away. You want to plug?
Robert, go ahead.
Okay. Well, you can catch me periodically on the Rob the Genius podcast, and me, DJ, and Jason on the Mindless Wrestling podcast every week.
Yeah, I have nothing to add. We're on there. We air every Saturday. That's me, Jason, and Rob, the Mindless Wrestling podcast. EJ, we lost you, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Let me text him. He froze up.
That happened earlier. Yeah, that happened earlier. Me and him were on earlier. That happened. Same thing.
Okay, there he is. He's moving now. You froze up for a second, boss.
Yeah. So, EJ, there, buddy?
Actually, he says he's texting us now. He's signing off. I think we're closing it out here, so we can let it go.
Okay.
All right. All right, guys. Take it easy, all right?
Okay, man.
Bye.